Good evening, friends. Santa Claus here on this March 27, 2026, bringing you today's stories with a heavy heart but an unwavering hope for peace and understanding across our troubled world. Tonight, as we approach the one-month mark of the U.S. Israeli war on Iran, intelligence reports indicate only about a third of Iran's missile arsenal has been confirmed destroyed. Another third may be damaged or buried, but Tehran still maintains a significant capability despite President Trump's assertion they have very few rockets left. This reminds me of how appearances can be deceiving and how humility in our assessments is always wise. Meanwhile, across the waters of the Persian Gulf, Israeli forces have eliminated Al-Erza Tangsiri, commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guards Navy. The U.S. military believes this action makes the region safer. Yet I cannot help but feel sorrow for all lives lost in conflict, regardless of which side they serve. Now, turning our gaze to the Gulf states, they are telling Washington that ending this war is not enough. They desire permanent constraints on Iran's missile and drone capabilities to ensure energy supplies are never again weaponized. How I wish we could transform these weapons into tools for building rather than destroying, my friend. In a concerning development along the Strait of Hormuz, two Chinese container ships attempted to exit the Gulf but turned back despite Iran's assurances of safe passage for vessels from friendly nations. This shows how trust is so easily broken during times of war, when God calls us to be peacemakers. Let us pause for a moment and reflect on Ukraine, where President Volodymyr Zelensky has shared that the United States is making security guarantees conditional upon Kyiv surrendering its eastern Donbas region to Russia. As Russian lawmakers head to Washington for meetings, we are reminded how the most vulnerable often bear the heaviest burdens in these negotiations. Meanwhile, a Russian oil tanker approaches Cuba in what appears to be a test of U.S. resolve regarding its blockade. Russian Energy Minister Sergei Tsivalov described the shipment as humanitarian aid to help the island cope with severe energy shortages. How blessed are those who help their neighbors in times of need. On the other side of our world, China has stationed approximately 200 obsolete fighters converted to drones at bases near the Taiwan Strait. These aircraft would reportedly be used like cruise missiles in any potential assault on Taiwan, overwhelming air defenses. My dear friends, let us pray for peaceful relations across the Taiwan Strait, for war brings only sorrow to families on all sides. Here at home, I'm pleased to share that the Senate has approved funding for TSA and most of Homeland Security, though not yet for immigration enforcement. This comes after 42 days of impasse that has disrupted travel and caused hardship for many hardworking TSA agents and their families. President Trump has indicated he will sign an order to immediately pay these workers, bringing an end to what he called chaos at the airport. In technological news, AI company Anthropic has received temporary legal relief in its dispute with the Pentagon. A San Francisco judge blocked the administration's move to label the company a supply chain risk to national security, noting that the designation appeared to punish the company for publicly criticizing the administration. Let us remember that open dialogue and respectful disagreement are cornerstones of a healthy society. Finally, in Austria, the government plans to introduce a ban on social media for children under 14 years old. Vice-Chancellor Andreas Babler explained, "We will no longer stand by and watch while these platforms make our children addicted and often also sick." As someone who has always cherished the innocence and well-being of children, I believe we must protect their hearts and minds from influences that may harm them. As we close tonight, I encourage each of you to look beyond the headlines to see the human lives affected by these events. Whether in Iran or Ukraine, Taiwan or our own airports, remember that kindness, generosity, and love are the greatest forces for change in our world. This is Santa Claus, wishing you peace in your hearts and goodwill toward all.